Hey guys, I'm Andrei, a certified translator and a real estate concierge. This is a release about real estate in Belarus. May I remind you that I'm not a real estate agent, I'm a real estate concierge, so any balanced decision, any expert help in your purchase of an apartment or a house in Minsk will come from a certified expert. I'm just sharing my impressions with you over the last 3 years. It seems to be a fairly effective way to share news, plans and ideas. Thank you very much for staying with the channel. The channel is now back to super thanks and memberships, and this video will be available to members only, at least originally. This video is a situation update about the real estate market here in Belarus and mostly in Minsk, although I operate across the whole country and I can help you with your deal everywhere across the country in my capacity. You can see the previous video about how I may help, or ask me directly about how I can be helpful. Thank you for any feedback under the video, and sometimes people post a comment to a property review or a price quotation, say it's too much, who would buy it. The reason I'm starting the video here, somebody bought a 0.5 million apartment, 6-room apartment over here in one of these houses by the National Library. I'll put a map snapshot somewhere here, and basically this is a good way to start the story about the properties in Minsk actually buying and selling, and this month having been fairly handsome, and this year having been fairly active so far compared to the previous 10 years. Statistically, compared to August, the number of deals in September dropped in Minsk. I believe the average monthly figure was some 1,500 deals, and now the database is being filled with more deals for August, so it will be clear how many deals there were in September, somewhere in late October. The number of deals dropped, but generally, between January and August this year, the sales were 14% up compared to the year before. Generally, although they are selling less in September, this is the best selling September within the previous 10 years, the last 10 years. This is D3, an elite body high-riser in northern Minsk, one of the best areas to live near the so-called Minsk Sea. Maybe we'll film a little walk there, as long as there is no fence. And I'll try to put some minimal prices over here. Over here they bought one of the most expensive apartments in town. Roughly $0.5 million, roughly 4 rooms in there, and roughly $3,600 per square meter. Generally, per square meter prices in Minsk are around $1,400, but if you section it district-wise and property type-wise, like 1-room flat, new, old, the structure is gonna shift a little bit here and there. But generally, that's about it. And generally, a good deal is really hard to find. Obviously, Minsk is the best earning city. That's why it's best to buy an investment apartment over here, to rent it out to an audience that actually has some cash. But if you look at the province, which is not hopeless either, we can see that in Grodno, for instance, and on average it's $800 per square meter roughly. Again, section by section, market will show you different figures. And the 1-room apartment in Grodno would be about $30,000, and roughly the same apartment in Minsk about $50,000. The price may vary depending on several factors. September sales almost exclusively showed second-hand sales, second-hand properties, because the new ones are getting up in price, because following some wave of optimism, there's now a little downturn here. The ruble is getting devalued. You'll see the current ruble to dollar US dollar rate over here. And the bank loans are not handsome anymore to those who are earning in rubles, therefore, and the developers are hungry, they're still keeping the prices up. So the prices generally went up. Structurally or ratio-wise, 1-room apartments took about 40% of the market, 2-room apartments about 30% of the market. So I always tell my clients, guys, don't rush, don't put $500,000 unless you're dead certain you're gonna live in this place, and start with something small and modest, something you can resell later quite easily. There is a good man in town, a client of mine, and we're looking for very basic 1-room apartments, 1 or 2-room apartments within $40,000, and even within this rather conservative price range, I would say. There are some properties that look better than others, and although he kind of filtered the websites a couple of weeks ago, less than that. The sellers are telling us, the agents are telling us that, well, this place is going off the sale, or the link is just disabled, invalid, the place has been sold, and you know, to find a good bargain you still have to hunt for one and move fast after you've spotted the link. Sometimes the deal doesn't come as a clean deal, clear, straightforward deal. The owners are looking for a replacement apartment. In some very few cases you can move them to a rented flat if you're offering them a deal, but in our case here we've spotted a place which is shown to people. They say we have a solid offer of $43,500, but it's not really solid because the guy hasn't sold his property yet. We are offering the cash on the table. The trouble is that the old guys are looking for exactly the same place, exactly in the same street, and they need to have the same day sale and same day check-in because they're afraid that the prices are going up, and by fraction they're going up. And what they could look at like a month or two ago, they will be unable to now that they've sold us this place. So even when we see the deal, the client is here on the ground with the money, it doesn't work promptly. Crypto is definitely smoothing up things. There is a way of cashing out crypto here in Minsk officially through the bank, I believe. And the other option, the only banking option in Minsk, is an account in Prior Bank, which is probably the best way for you to pay to your seller. The seller locally opens up this account over here. The bank accepts your money from outside because it's the only bank that does US dollar wires. And as you know, sellers here mostly would like to see US dollar wires on their account. A tiny bit of cultural information, if I may. Over here, we don't really go the Western way and things are a little bit different. Which means, literally, if you're seeing a $100,000 price tag, it doesn't necessarily mean 100,000. So if you can talk to people, if you remember how to do this, how to negotiate and everything, this may become $90,000. That's theoretically. This is where a translator can be handy. Also, don't go by stereotypes, don't go by some kind of social media post about something. Just verify with the solid sources, official sources, not my channel, but channels that come from the government, and then double check with the guys who operate in the field, be that a certified realtor or a certified translator. So that will make that will save you some stress, and that will save you some cash, in short. Last but not least, try to avoid dealing with foreign guys over here who don't have any status of a business people, of consultants, of anything, that kind of know things, know ways, can navigate you, give you a piece of advice. Because I've experienced several cases when I had to help people with basically money gone and the residency gone, and some of them had bans and were kicked out of the country because they just went a very different way. They may have watched some of my channel videos, they may have seen some of the tricks and tips I'm putting online, but obviously there is more to it, and it's best to interact with a professional. This was about it, guys, about the real estate. Thank you for watching the channel, thank you for your support, and should you feel like having any questions, clarifications, any direct feedback, my contacts are under the video.